Hi, I'm Elizabeth Hudson. Last cycle was the first time that I ran, and now I'm running for re-election. I'll tell you a little bit more about me at the end, but first, why do you care about the schools, even if you don't have a student in the school system today? Bottom line is that our schools represent a full third of Cambridge's municipal budget, almost $300 million out of a $1 billion city bottom line. Whether you've got kids in the school system, or you're watching your tax bill, or you want more or better services for yourself or your neighbors, you have an interest in how well our programs perform. Now that we've covered that, what's happening with those programs today? What's the story with the election cycle? What's the story this election cycle, and what's happening in our school system? Last cycle we talked about math. The district had removed algebra from the 8th grade curriculum in the name of equity, holding back kids who were ready for more challenging material to cover for their failure to prepare the rest of the class for a course that's standard in public school districts across the country, with more than 80% of public school districts offering it today. This past term, we reversed that mistake. Algebra is back starting in the fall of 2025, and we replaced the superintendent under whom decisions like this were made. But that was just one example of a larger pattern that we now need to tackle. For decades, we've ignored the basics. We don't hire and consistently keep great leaders, and we don't fire people who don't meet that bar. We don't get kids to school on time. We let classrooms descend into chaos with kids standing on desks, throwing laptops, hurting others, chaos in which it's hard to teach and impossible to learn. And we consistently promote students who haven't yet mastered the material for the grade that they're in to the next highest grade for which they are unprepared. And then we act surprised when there are vast differences in preparedness and ability that persist into middle school and high school. And then we paper over those differences in preparedness and ability with whatever the trendy new education policy is at the time, and we call it closing the achievement gap. For example, the district eliminated deadlines for homework and all attendance requirements at the high school in a program called Grading for Equity, which is now partially reversed but entirely a bad idea. We axed advanced academic tracks in both middle school and high school, not just in math, and we refused students the materials necessary to work ahead because that would mean that they are not aligned with their peers. The city went into debt to create middle schools versus our old K-8 schools because somebody told us that was the thing to do in education at the time to close the achievement gap. And believe it or not, it didn't. And we tolerate faculty with race-based rules as to who speaks first in class to disrupt entrenched power dynamics. None of this stuff works. Half the kids were working below grade level 20 years ago, and today half the kids are still working below grade level. And by the way, kids are smart. They know all of this stuff is theater. You also can't say that these programs don't work because we don't fully invest in them. Indeed, we invest a lot. We have doubled our school staff over the past 20 years, with the majority of those new positions being educators, not administrators. To make that happen, we now spend, in inflation-adjusted dollars, $100 million more every single year to operate the district versus what we did 20 years ago. Yeah. Our student-to-staff ratio went from 8-to-1 to 4-to-1, the lowest in the nation. But teachers still report being swamped, and our test scores haven't budged. We've got our eyes on the right problems, in other words, but we fail because we have the wrong solutions and atrocious execution. By the way, I voted against both budgets last term, not because the schools aren't the city's most important investment, they are, but because nobody can tell you where all of our man hours are spent today and why they are not having the impact that we predicted when we originally allocated funds to them. That is a dereliction of our only duty. We have limited time here, so to make this concrete, there's a list on our website of what specifically we accomplished in the last term and what specifically and explicitly we will do in the coming term. Finally, a little bit about me. My husband and I moved to Cambridge for the schools, specifically for the Mandarin Immersion program at the MLK school. We have 3 sons and in a few weeks a 4th child. I'm a neuroscientist by training. I worked in public policy at Yale Law School and then in industrial robotics, which is what brought me to Boston. For the past few years, I've been the CTO at a biotech venture capital firm, and now I'm working on something new. When I'm not at my day job, I'm an intelligence officer in the Navy Reserve, and I serve as the vice chair of the board of advisors at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics on Garden Street. And for the past 2 years, I've had the pleasure of serving on the Cambridge School Committee as well. Thank you for watching this, and you can reach me anytime at 617-397-0589.